Pro days continue as we approach the 2021 NFL Draft. Joined by Paul Dottino, I am John Schmeelk. And Paul, one of the schools that have one of the best strength and conditioning programs in the country, always have some of the best athletes that put up the best numbers in these events, is Penn State. It was no different this year. Let's start with Micah Parsons, their all-world linebacker, likely a top 15 pick in this year's draft. He was asked by NFL Network's Kim Jones what he hoped to show to scouts at his pro day.
I think I showed my talents very well. I showed them exactly what type of competitor I am, and I showed them how they can utilize me in different ways. I think I'm probably one of the most versatile players in this draft, and I'm able to be used anywhere on the field. So, obviously with my speed, it helps, and I hope the way they saw me move that, I'm line up at Mike, Will, or outside. So I'm really ready for anything.
And Paul, some people think Micah Parsons could be a will linebacker with that great 40-time let him run sideline to sideline. So a very versatile player in the National Football League. Paul, let's stick with Penn State. Jason Owe, if you thought Micah Parsons' combine numbers were good, well, buckle up, folks. 6'4.5", 257 pounds. How about a 4.36 40-yard dash? He was asked by NFL Network's Kim Jones what he wants NFL teams to know about him if they decide to pick him in the draft.
Yeah, I feel like you're getting the best, investment in me. My best years of football are, ahead of me. And I'm saying that you have me here. Imagine where I'm going to be in a few years. So, I just feel like I'm blessed to be in this position because I know what I need to work on. After I put in a few moves, a few more works, a few more techniques, I'm going to be pretty great.
And Paul, he said it. He's a projection player. His best football is ahead of him. He did not have a sack this year, but I mentioned the 40, a sub-7-second three-cone drill, over 11-foot broad jump, almost a 40-inch vertical. He has all the tools. He just hasn't quite turned that into production yet.
Well, let's break it down. First, he's raw, played for 3 years at Penn State. In high school, he wasn't starting to play football until his senior year. He was basically a basketball player, okay? Now, let's talk about his measurables for a second. You old folks out there will remember Javon Curse. He was known as the Freak. This guy's measurables across the board are comparable to Curse. But again, you mentioned no sacks this past year, although he was named All-Conference, which is amazing when you consider that he didn't get to the quarterback. Again, a projection player.
Now, he did have pressures, quarterback hits, things like that, but just no sacks. And production, obviously, a very big deal when it comes to defensive linemen. All right, a couple other guys at Penn State, Paul. Let's talk about the tight end, Fryermuth. He did not participate in the pro day due to injury, but he's a guy that could be a day 2 pick.
People call him Baby Gronk. I understand that because he's an all-around player. Because of shoulder surgery, he's not available for any full contact drills for at least another 2 to 3 weeks, at least according to him. But the film speaks for itself. He does everything you'd want in an all-around tight end. He's really a throwback, John.
He is. Let's jump over to USC now, Paul. Talk about throwback Elijah Vera-Tucker. He's a guy, if you want to win the trenches, you want this guy on your team. He was interviewed by Omar Ruiz at NFL Network and was asked what position he would prefer to play in the NFL.
Probably the main thing was just to, showcase my athleticism, I feel like you look at tape, you see that both 2019, 2020. As a lot of guys will say, for me, it really doesn't matter. Wherever the team needs me, I'll play. Definitely I enjoyed tackle this year. Haven't played it in 4 years since last year. So, definitely being able to get a crack at it in the league would definitely be a great opportunity. So, I say if I had to pick one, I'd probably say left tackle.
Paul, a very impressive 36 bench press reps, but here's the factor. Only 32-inch arms, and that goes to the question why some teams might see him as more of a guard, though Elijah Vera-Tucker said he'd love to play left tackle.
Well, you'll remember some years ago when the Giants drafted Justin Pugh, and they played him a tackle out of Syracuse, but the thing was, well, with the arm length, is he going to be better and more productive as a guard? Well, long term, that's what he's turned out to be. The thing with Vera-Tucker is this. He's got very good strength and terrific athleticism, which means as a guard, he is going to be able to pull. He is going to be able to get to the second level. I understand why people would like to put him there.
Yeah, and he certainly can do it, and he could be a top 15, top 20 pick, the first guard off the board, or if you see him as a tackle, maybe the third tackle off the board in this year's draft. His teammate, very quickly, Paul, Amon-Ra St. Brown, his brother Equanimeous St. Brown came out a couple of years ago. He's your typical quick, good hand slot receiver.
A guy who is going to make a lot more headlines with his production on the field and his game tape than he will at the workout. None of his workout numbers were spectacular. None of them jumped off the page. He's just a pro's pro who gets the job done.
And finally, Paul, we were going to talk about the Virginia Tech Pro Day, but Caleb Farley, who was the guy we wanted to talk about, had to have back surgery. He could have been the top cornerback off the board, definitely in the top 3. This might open the door for someone like J.C. Horn, who participated at the South Carolina Pro Day. 4.39 40-yard dash, ranked in the 95th or better percentile on all the events that he participated in, and he has some good bloodlines.
Well, his dad, Joe Horn, played with the Saints. You guys will remember that. He is part of that second cluster of corners after you get past Farley and Surtain, who were assumed to be the top 2 guys. Of course, Farley's got the medical now. But you can't go wrong with that next cluster. Guys are going to make it in this league.
And some analysts do have him creeping into that top 15 range, and whether he challenges Surtain remains to be seen, but he's certainly creeping up draft boards. That's a look at the most recent pro days. For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. Thanks for being with us.